The alarm beeped softly in the small cockpit. Tejo reached over and turned it off, without opening his eyes. Another day, another piece of space junk to pick apart. He had been doing this for 5 years now, floating through the asteroid belt alone, looking for broken ships that nobody wanted anymore. His ship, the Broken Arrow, was not much to look at. The hull had dents and scratches all over it. One of the engines made a weird noise that Tejo still could not figure out. But it flew, and it had enough room for all his tools. That was all he needed. Tejo pulled himself out of the sleeping pod and floated to the small kitchen area. Zero gravity always made breakfast interesting. He grabbed a food packet and squeezed some paste into his mouth. It tasted like nothing, but it kept him alive. He washed it down with recycled water that had probably been his shower water last week. He tried not to think about that too much. The console started beeping. A new signal. Tejo pushed himself over to the pilot seat and looked at the screen. There was something big out there. About 2 hours away. The signature looked strange. Not human-made, that was for sure. He checked the station network. There was a warning about that sector. "Stay away," it said. "Possible hostile activity." Tejo laughed a little. The station always said things like that. They just wanted all the good salvage for themselves. He set course for the signal and went to check his tools. If this was an alien ship, the parts might be worth something. He could maybe fix his engine and have money left over for real food. The kind that did not come in a tube. 2 hours later, the ship appeared on his screens. It was big. Maybe 3 times the size of the Broken Arrow. The design was not like anything Tejo had seen before. Long and flat, with weird angles that did not make sense. Parts of it were burned black. Something bad had happened here. Tejo put on his suit and checked the air tanks. Full enough. He grabbed his tool bag and the portable scanner. The airlock hissed open, and he pushed himself toward the dead ship. Getting inside was easy. There was a hole in the side big enough to fly through. Tejo used his suit jets to slow down and grabbed onto a twisted piece of metal. His headlamp cut through the darkness inside. The first thing he noticed was the smell. Even through the suit filters, something smelled wrong. Burned plastic and something else. Something organic. He moved through the corridors slowly. The walls had marks on them. Deep scratches, like something with claws had been here. Some of the marks had dark stains around them. Tejo tried not to think about what that meant. His scanner kept beeping. There was still power somewhere in this ship. That was strange. Dead ships did not usually have power. He followed the signal deeper inside. The cargo hold was massive. And it was full of cages, dozens of them, all made from some kind of dark metal. Most were empty and had their doors hanging open. But one cage in the back corner was still closed. Tejo walked closer. His light hit something inside the cage. 2 eyes reflected back at him. Bright green and very much alive. He jumped back and almost dropped his scanner. There was someone in there. Something in there. The creature was huge, maybe 7 feet tall, even sitting down. It had fur, dark gray with black stripes. The face was like a cat, but bigger and sharper. Much sharper. The creature did not move, just watched him with those green eyes. Tejo could see a collar around its neck. The collar had small lights blinking red. Even from here, he could see burn marks on the fur underneath it. This was a slave ship. Tejo felt something cold in his stomach. He had heard stories about this kind of thing happening out in the far sectors, places where the law did not reach. But seeing it was different. The creature made a sound. Low and rough. It might have been trying to talk. Tejo stepped closer to the cage. The lock was electronic, tied to the collar somehow. If he opened the cage wrong, that collar would probably kill whatever was inside. He should leave. This was not his problem. He was just here for salvage. If he reported this, there would be questions. Maybe trouble. The smart thing was to walk away. Taeho looked at the creature again. It was thin. Too thin. He could see ribs under the fur. One of its arms was bent at a wrong angle. Broken. Probably. The green eyes watched him, and there was something in them. Not just fear. Something else. Hope, maybe. Okay, Taeho said out loud. Okay. Let's think about this. He pulled out his tools and looked at the collar. It was complicated, but he had worked on complicated things before. Everything had a pattern if you looked hard enough. He just needed to find the right wire. 30 minutes later, his hands were shaking. One wrong move, and this thing would fry the creature's brain. But he was almost there. Just one more connection to break. The collar clicked and fell off. The creature made a sound like a gasp. Then it moved. Faster than Taeho thought possible. 1 second it was sitting. The next, it had him pinned against the wall. Claws pressed against his suit, sharp enough to cut through. Taeho stopped breathing. This was it. He had freed it, and now it was going to kill him. But the creature stopped. It looked at the open collar on the ground. Then at Taeho. Then back at the collar. Slowly, the claws pulled back. The creature stepped away and made another sound. This time, it sounded different. Softer. It pointed at Taeho. Then at the collar. Then at itself. The meaning was clear enough. Thank you. Taeho let out a breath he did not know he was holding. Yeah, he said. No problem. Can you walk? The creature nodded. It understood some human speech then. That was good. Taeho gestured toward the hole in the ship. Come on. Let's get out of here. Before whoever did this comes back. Getting back to the broken arrow was slow. The creature was hurt worse than Taeho thought. It moved carefully, like everything hurt. But it did not complain. Just followed him through the darkness. Once they were both inside his ship, Taeho sealed the airlock and started the engines. He did not know what he was doing. He did not know what this creature was, or where it came from. He did not know what kind of trouble he just brought onto himself. But he knew one thing. He could not have left it there to die. That was just not how he was built. The creature sat in the cargo bay for 3 hours before it spoke. Taeho had given it water and some protein bars. It ate slowly, like it had forgotten how. The broken arm hung uselessly at its side. Taeho was trying to fix a broken medical scanner when the voice came. Name. Rael. He looked up. The creature was pointing at itself. Rael, it said again. The voice was rough and deep, but definitely female. Taeho, he replied, pointing at himself. I'm Taeho. Rael nodded slowly. She tried to say his name, but it came out strange. Taeho. Close enough. Over the next few days, they learned to talk. Rael knew some Galactic Common, the trade language most species used. Her words were broken and hard to understand. But Taeho was patient. He had nobody else to talk to anyway. She told him she was Vesh, a warrior species from the other side of known space. 3 years ago, she had been part of a scout team. 5 warriors sent to explore new territory. They had been ambushed, drugged. When she woke up, she was in a cage. The Drelloc Consortium had taken them, sold them. Rael did not know where the others went. She had been moved from ship to ship, cage to cage. The collar hurt her if she fought back, so eventually, she stopped fighting. Taeho listened and felt sick. He had heard rumors about the Drelloc. They operated in the fringe sectors where nobody asked questions. But he never thought about what that really meant. Your people, he asked. Do they know what happened? Rael shook her head. They think dead. Warriors do not come back from nothing. Better dead then. She struggled for the word. Broken. I Feng. I Feng. I Fenger Seventh. Deaditing Fiver. Getting Fiver. Broken. Deaditing Fiver. I Feng the Ding Fiver. I Feng the Ding Fiver. Just you're not broken, Taeho said. Rael showed her teeth. It might have been a smile. It might have been something else. You see me. You know nothing. She was right about that. Taeho knew nothing about Vesh culture, but he knew hurt when he saw it. And he knew that nobody deserved what had happened to her. He spent the next day fixing her arm. His medical supplies were basic, but he knew bones. Metal, bone. It was all structure. You just had to set it right and give it time. Rael did not make a sound while he worked, even though he knew it hurt. When he was done, she looked at the bandage, and then at him. Taeho shrugged. You needed help. I have tools. Seems simple to me. Rael stared at him like he was speaking a language she did not know. Maybe he was. On the 5th day, Taeho taught her how to use the ship's basic controls. If something happened to him, she needed to know how to survive. Rael learned fast. Her hands were big and clawed, but she was careful with the buttons. Humans weak, she said while practicing. It was not meant as an insult. Just an observation. No claws. No teeth. No armor. How you live in space. Taeho laughed. We build things. We're good at that. And we're stubborn. Stubborn, Rael tested the word. This means? It means we don't quit, even when we should. He showed her how to read the fuel gauge. We're not strong like you. We're not fast. But we don't give up. Rael was quiet for a moment. This how you come to stars? Not give up? Pretty much. She made a sound like a purr. Taeho was learning that meant she was thinking. My people respect strength. Honor. Die before shame. She looked at her bandaged arm. I have shame now. Cannot go home. That's stupid, Taeho said. Then he realized he probably should not call her culture stupid. I mean, you survived. That takes strength too, not Vesh way. Then maybe the Vesh way needs to change. Rael showed her teeth again. This time, it was definitely a smile. The alarm woke them both on the 7th day. Taeho ran to the cockpit. 3 ships on the scanner. Moving fast. Coming right at them. Damn it, he whispered. Rael appeared behind him. She looked at the screen, and her whole body went stiff. Drellock, she said. They found. The radio crackled to life. A voice spoke in Galactic Common. Human vessel. You have stolen property. Return it, and you will not be harmed. Taeho grabbed the radio. This is the Broken Arrow. I don't have any property. Just me and my gear. Our tracker says different. The Vesh slave belongs to the consortium. Fringe space law is clear. Return it now. Taeho looked at Rael. She was not looking at him. She was looking at the floor. Like she was already preparing to go back. Something hot flashed through Taeho's chest. No, he said into the radio. Excuse me? I said no. Slavery is illegal in human space. And this is a human ship. She's not going anywhere. The voice on the radio changed. Got colder. You are in fringe space. Human law does not apply. This is your last warning. Taeho's hands moved over the controls. He started charging the jump drive. It was dangerous to jump without proper calculation. But staying here was more dangerous. Taeho, no. Rael put a hand on his shoulder. They kill you. I go. You live. Not happening, Taeho said. He punched in coordinates. Any coordinates? Anywhere but here. The Drellock ships were getting closer. Taeho could see weapons charging on the scanner. Hold on to something, he said. The jump drive whined. It was not ready. Not even close to ready. But Taeho fired it anyway. The universe twisted. Taeho's stomach tried to climb out through his mouth. Lights flashed. Alarms screamed. Something exploded in the engine room. Then everything went dark. When Taeho woke up, his head was pounding. The emergency lights were on. That was good. It meant they still had some power. He checked the console. The jump drive was dead. The main engine was dead. Life support was working, but barely, and they were completely lost. The navigation system had no idea where they were. Great, Tejo muttered. You alive? Rael was standing in the doorway. She had blood on her face from a cut above her eye, but she was standing. Yeah, you? Alive. She walked over and looked at the dead controls. Ship broken? Very broken. She sat down next to him. They both stared at the emergency lights for a while. You are stupid human, Rael said finally. I know. They would kill you for me. I know. Why you do this? Tejo thought about it. He thought about the cage, about the collar, about the burn marks on her neck. He thought about all the reasons he should have just minded his own business. Because someone had to, he said. Rael made that purring sound again. Stubborn. Very stubborn. She put her good hand on his shoulder. The claws were sharp, but gentle. Thank you. Tejo. You're welcome, Rael. They sat in the darkness together. Two people who should never have met, floating lost somewhere in space. Outside the window, stars they did not recognize, shone in patterns they had never seen, but at least they were free. For whatever that was worth, Tejo started making a list of repairs. It was going to be a long list, but he had tools, and he had time, and he had someone to talk to now. That was better than he had been doing before. The ship was dying slowly. Tejo could feel it in the way the floors vibrated. The emergency power would last maybe 2 weeks. After that, they would freeze or suffocate. Probably both. We need to land, he told Rael. Find materials, fix the engine. She nodded. Her arm was healing but still weak. Where? Tejo pointed at the scanner. There was a moon nearby. Small, but it had an atmosphere. Breathable, according to the sensors. It also had metals and other things they could use. Getting there was the hard part. The broken arrow had barely enough power to make a controlled crash. And that was being optimistic. This will be rough, Tejo warned. Rael strapped herself into a seat. I survive worse. She was not wrong about that. The landing was not really a landing. It was more like falling with style. The ship hit the ground, bounced, hit again, and slid for about half a mile, before stopping against a pile of rocks. Metal screamed, glass broke. Tejo hit his head on something and saw stars. When everything stopped moving, he checked himself. Nothing broken. Everything hurt, but nothing broken. That was good enough. Rael was already up and moving. Ship dead now? Tejo looked at the controls. Everything was dark except for one small backup battery. Yeah, very dead. They gathered what they could carry. Tools, food, water, Tejo's medical kit. They had maybe 5 days of supplies. That would have to be enough. Outside, the moon was actually pretty. The sky was purple, and the air smelled like metal and rain. There were plants, if you could call them that. They looked more like crystals growing from the ground. We need metal, Tejo said, and something to make fire, and food, if we can find it. Rael sniffed the air. Animals here. I smell them. That was both good and bad. Good because they could eat. Bad because something might try to eat them first. They set up a basic camp near the ship. Tejo started working on a plan to rebuild the engine. He needed parts he did not have. But maybe he could make them if he got creative. Rael went hunting. She was gone for 2 hours. When she came back, she was carrying something that looked like a 6-legged deer. It was already dead and cleaned. How did you catch that? Tejo asked. Rael showed her claws. I am Hunter. Was. They cooked the meat over a fire Tejo made from ship parts and plant material. While they ate, Rael watched Tejo work on his designs. He was sketching out plans for a new engine part using materials they could find on the moon. You make things from nothing, she said. Not nothing, just things that are broken or different. He showed her the drawing. See? This piece from the ship plus this rock we found, plus some heat, equals a new thruster component. Maybe. Maybe? Engineering is not perfect. Sometimes things explode. Rael made a sound that might have been a laugh. I get that a lot. The next few days fell into a pattern. Rael would hunt and protect their camp. Tejo would gather materials and build things. They worked well together, even though they were completely different. One night, Tejo built a forge using ship metal and heated rocks. Rael watched him melt down pieces of the hull and pour them into molds he made from clay. Your people have no claws, she said. No fangs. No armor. How you reach stars. It was the same question she asked before. But this time, she really wanted to understand. Tejo thought while he worked. We can't run as fast as some animals on our world. Can't fight as well. Can't see as far or smell as good. We should have died out a long time ago. But you did not. No. Because we learned to make tools. And we learned to work together. And we learned that if something does not exist, we can build it. He pulled a glowing piece of metal from the forge. We do not wait for nature to give us what we need. We make it ourselves. Rael was quiet for a long time. Vesh believes strength is everything. The strong survive, the weak die, is how it should be. That's one way, Tejo said. But humans believe something different. We believe everyone has value. The strong help the weak. And together, we are stronger than alone. This, why you save me. This is why I saved you. Rael looked at her hands. The claws that could tear through metal. I am strong. You are weak. But I was in cage. You were free. I do not understand. Strength is not just muscles, Tejo said. It is also knowing when to fight and when to build, when to run and when to help. You are strong in your way. I am strong in mine. Different kinds of strong. She nodded slowly. Maybe I understand. On the 5th day, Rael was hunting when she heard something. A signal. Very faint, but definitely there. She ran back to camp. Tejo. Radio signal. I hear it. Tejo grabbed his scanner. She was right. There was a transmission coming from somewhere in orbit. He patched it through to the ship's remaining speaker. The message was in Vesh language. Tejo could not understand the words, but he could hear the tone. It was military. Official. Rael listened with her eyes closed. When it finished, she looked shaken. What did it say? Tejo asked. My people. They search for Drelok ships. They look for slaves. Her voice got quieter. They say war started. 2 weeks ago. War? Vesh Empire and Drelok Consortium. Fighting now. She looked at him. This is my fault. How is it your fault? I escape. Maybe others escape too. Maybe that is why war starts. Tejo shook his head. If your people started a war, it is because the Drelok were doing something wrong. Not because of you. But Rael was not listening. She was thinking, I must go back. Must fight with my people. Is my duty. Okay, Tejo said. Then we fix the ship and get you home. No. You do not understand. If you bring me home, they might kill you. You are outsider. Humans are not part of this war. They will think you dishonor me by seeing me weak. So I drop you off and leave. Simple. Nothing is simple with Vesh. She looked frustrated. You should leave me here. Fix ship. Go back to human space. Be safe. Tejo went back to working on the engine part. Not going to happen. Why not? He looked up at her. Because I do not abandon people. You needed help then. You need help now. That is just how I am built. You can argue all you want, but I am very stubborn, remember? Rael made that purring sound, but this time it sounded different, almost like crying. I owe you life debt, she said quietly. In my culture, this means everything. I cannot repay it. I am broken warrior. I have nothing to give. Teho stood up and walked over to her. You already gave me something. What? Company. Help. Stories about your people. He smiled. Before I met you, I was alone. Just me and broken ships. Now I have a friend. That is worth something. Rael looked at him for a long moment. Then she put her hand on his shoulder, careful with her claws. You are strangest human. But maybe best human. I will take that as a compliment. They worked through the night. By morning, they had enough parts to try starting the engine. It might work. It might explode. But they would not know until they tried. Teho crossed his fingers. It was a human gesture for luck. Rael had learned what it meant. She crossed her claws in the same way. The engine coughed, sputtered, then roared to life. They both cheered. Teho hugged Rael without thinking. She went stiff for a second, then carefully hugged him back. We did it, he said. We did it, she agreed. The broken arrow lifted off the moon on makeshift repairs and stubborn hope. It was not pretty. It was not safe. But it flew. And that was enough. The edge of Vesh space was on fire. Teho stared at the scanner and could not believe what he was seeing. Dozens of ships fighting. Explosions lighting up the darkness. Bodies floating in the void. Is it always like this? He asked. Rael stood next to him, her face hard. War is like this. Yes. The radio was full of signals. Some in Vesh language. Some in languages Teho did not know. And some in human language. Distress calls. There are human ships here, he said. Rael looked at the scanner. They should not be here. This is war zone. One signal was louder than the others. Teho isolated it. A human voice, scared and desperate. This is Colony Transport Meridian. We are taking fire. We have 300 civilians on board. Women and children. Please, someone help us. Teho's hands were already moving over the controls before he thought about it. What you doing? Rael asked. Going to help them. Oh no. Your ship is broken. We barely flying. We cannot fight. I am not going to fight. I am going to get them out. He looked at her. You want to help or not? Rael showed her teeth. Stupid human. Yes, I help. The broken arrow was not built for combat. It was not built for rescue either. But Teho had not come this far by following the rules. He flew toward the battle using every trick he knew. Hiding behind debris. Cutting power to avoid sensors. Moving when the big ships were distracted. The Meridian was in bad shape. One side was torn open. Life support was failing. And a Drellock cruiser was moving in for the kill. I need you to do something crazy, Teho told Rael. I am good at crazy now. He explained the plan. Rael listened and nodded. This will probably kill us. Probably. Good plan. Teho brought the broken arrow close to the Meridian. So close that their hulls almost touched. Rael put on the spare spacesuit and grabbed the emergency airlock override. Be careful, Teho said. You too. She jumped across the gap between ships. Teho watched her disappear into the Meridian's damaged hull. Then, he turned his attention to the Drellock cruiser. He fired up every system he had. Made the broken arrow light up on every sensor. Made himself a target. The Drellock cruiser noticed. It turned toward him. Weapons, charging. Come on, Teho whispered. Look at me. I am much more interesting. The cruiser fired. Teho dodged behind a piece of destroyed ship. The blast missed him by meters. He could feel the heat through the hull. He kept moving, kept being annoying, kept the cruiser's attention on him and not on the Meridian. Inside the transport, Rael was moving through the corridors. Humans saw her and screamed. She ignored them. No time to explain. She found the bridge. The captain was there, bleeding from a head wound. Who are you? Friend, Rael said in broken galactic common. Come to help. Need evacuate. Now. The captain looked at her. No. Is Drelloc War? You just in way. Rael pulled him to his feet. You have small ships? Escape pods? Yes. But the Drelloc will shoot them down. No. They busy. Trust me. Outside, Teho was running out of tricks. The Drelloc cruiser was faster and stronger. He could not keep this up much longer. Then he saw something on the scanner. A big ship coming in fast. Very big, very fast. The new ship was Vesh. A battlecruiser, painted in red and black. Weapons that could tear apart planets. And it was heading straight for the Drelloc cruiser. The Drelloc ship noticed. It stopped chasing Teho and tried to run. Too late. The Vesh battlecruiser opened fire. The Drelloc ship exploded in a ball of light. Teho let out a breath. Okay, that was close. His radio crackled. A voice speaking Galactic Common. Human ship. Identify yourself. This is the Broken Arrow. I am just a mechanic. I was trying to help the Meridian. There was a pause. You are the ship with Rael of the Second Claw. Teho blinked. How did you know that? We have been tracking signals, waiting for her to appear. Another pause. Bring your ship to our docking bay. Now. This is not a request. Teho looked at the Meridian. Escape pods were launching. Rael had gotten them out. Good. Understood. He said. Coming in. The Vesh battlecruiser was called the Crimson Fang. Inside, it was all sharp angles and red lighting. Everything felt dangerous. Soldiers with armor and weapons were everywhere. They took Teho to a room and made him wait. 20 minutes later, Rael arrived. She looked different, standing straighter. Her face was hard again. You okay? Teho asked. I am fine. You? Still alive. The door opened. A Vesh male walked in. He was bigger than Rael, with scars all over his face and arms. His armor had medals and rank markings. Important, clearly. Rael of the Second Claw, he said in Vesh language. Rael stood at attention. They talked for a minute. Teho could not understand the words. But he could see Rael's face soften. See her shoulders relax. Then the male turned to Teho. He spoke in Galactic Common. I am Admiral Dejan of the Crimson Fang. You are the human who freed Rael. Yes, sir, I am Teho. Dejan walked around him slowly, looking at him like he was a strange bug. You are very small, very weak-looking, not much of a fighter. I am a mechanic, not a fighter. Yet you flew into a battle to save strangers. Why? Teho shrugged. They needed help. I was there. Seemed like the right thing to do. Dejan stopped walking. The right thing. You gained nothing from this. You risked your life and ship. For what? For 300 people who would have died otherwise. The Admiral was quiet for a long moment. Rael tells me you saved her from slavery. This is true? Yes. Why? Same reason. She needed help. You did not know her. She is not your species, not your concern. Yet you risked everything. Dejan leaned closer. I do not understand humans. Explain this to me. Teho thought about it. My people believe that everyone has value. That we are stronger together than alone. When someone needs help, and we can help, we do. It is just who we are. Dejan turned to Rael. They spoke in Vesh again. She answered with passion, gesturing at Teho several times. Finally, Dejan nodded. He looked at Teho again. Rael was not the first we recovered. 6 others have been found, freed by different people. Some by Vesh, some by other species. He paused. One by another human. End quote. So that is why the war started. Yes, we learned of the Drelloc slave trade. Learned they had been taking our warriors for years. This is unforgivable. His voice got harder. We will destroy them. For this. How is the war going? Teho asked. Dejan's face showed the answer before he spoke. Not well. The Drelloc have more ships. Better weapons. We are strong fighters. But strength alone is not enough. You need strategy, engineers, support. We need warriors. No, Tejo said. You have warriors. You need what warriors cannot be. You need builders, healers, thinkers. Daejin studied him. You think humans could help us. I think humans are good at solving problems. And this is a problem. The Admiral looked at Rael. You trust this human? With my life, Rael said without hesitation. Daejin made a decision. Then I have a mission for you both. Go to human space. Speak to your leaders. Tell them what is happening here. Ask for their help. He looked at Tejo. Not soldiers. We have soldiers. Ask for what you said. Engineers, healers, thinkers. And if they say no, Tejo asked, then we will die with honor. Daejin put a hand on Tejo's shoulder. The claws were sharp but gentle. But I think they will say yes. Because if one human with a broken ship can save 300 people, imagine what many humans could do. Tejo smiled. You are starting to understand us. Perhaps. Go. Quickly. We do not have much time. Rael and Tejo left the Crimson Fang in the Broken Arrow. Behind them, the war continued. In front of them, human space waited. Think they will help? Rael asked. Tejo looked at the stars ahead. I think people want to help. They just need to know how. We will show them. Together? Together. Rael made that purring sound. Stubborn human. Always. The human diplomatic station orbited Jupiter's moon, Ganymede. It was huge, with ships coming and going constantly. Tejo had never been here before. He usually stayed far away from official places. The Broken Arrow looked terrible compared to the clean, new ships around them. But the station let them dock. Apparently, having a Vesh warrior on board got attention. 2 guards met them at the airlock. They looked nervous seeing Rael. Weapons stay on the ship, one said. Rael showed her claws. These are part of me. They stay. The guard swallowed. Right. Of course. They were taken to a conference room. 12 people sat around a table. Important people in expensive suits. They looked at Tejo like he was dirt. They looked at Rael like she was dangerous. A woman at the head of the table spoke. I am Director Hana Kim. I understand you have information about the Vesh-Drelok War. Tejo told them everything. The slave ships, freeing Rael, the battle. Admiral Daejin's request. He showed them the evidence he had collected. Records from the slave ship, images of the collars, testimony from the Meridian survivors. When he finished, the room was quiet. Finally, a man in a gray suit spoke. This is terrible, of course. But it is not our war. Humanity has no stake in this conflict. People are dying, Tejo said. People die every day. We cannot save everyone. Rael stood up suddenly. Everyone flinched. You are wrong, she said in her broken galactic common. This human save me. Not know me. Not owe me. Just see Cage and help, she pointed at Tejo. He fly into battle for strangers. Risk everything for nothing. This is what humans do. That was one person's choice, the gray suit man said. Then your government is wrong. Rael's voice got louder. I watch this human fix impossible things. Build from nothing. Never give up. Your people have greatest gift in galaxy. You help others. You build. You care. She looked around the room. If you do not use this gift, you waste it. Director Kim held up a hand. Please, calm down. We understand your passion. But you must understand our position. We have limited resources. Our people come first. Tejo stood up. Human civilians are already there. Traders. Explorers. Families. They are getting caught in the fighting. If we help end this war faster, we save our own people too. And what exactly can we do? Send warships? Start a war with the Drelok ourselves? No. Teho said. Send engineers, doctors, teachers. Send people who can help the Vesh fight smarter, not just harder. We are good at that. Problem solving. Finding better ways. Another person at the table spoke. And what do we get in return? Rael answered. Alliance. Trade. Technology sharing. Vesh are strong. Humans are clever. Together. Unstoppable. The gray suit man laughed. You are asking us to help people who might kill us for interfering. The Vesh do not trust outsiders. Some do not, Rael admitted. But Admiral Dajin does. And others like him. War is changing my people. Making us see things different. She looked at Teho. This human showed me that strength is not just fighting, is also building. Also helping. If he can change me, others can change too. Director Kim was quiet for a long moment. Then she said, I need to discuss this with my colleagues. Please wait outside. Teho and Rael sat in the hallway for 3 hours. Teho fell asleep on a bench. Rael watched the humans walk by and tried to understand them. Finally, they were called back in. Director Kim looked tired. We have made a decision. The human government will not officially join this war, but we will not stop civilians from volunteering to help. We have made optive low. We will provide transport and supplies to any human who wants to go. That is it? Teho asked. It is more than you think. You do not know humans very well if you think volunteers are not enough. She smiled a little. Put out a call for people to help an underdog fight against slavers, and see what happens. She was right. Within a week, thousands of humans signed up. Engineers who wanted to help fix Vesh ships, doctors who wanted to save lives, strategists who loved a good puzzle, and some who just wanted to fight against the kind of people who kept slaves. A woman named Yura, who had studied military history her whole life, volunteered to help plan battles. The Vesh fight with honor, she explained to Teho. But honor can be predictable. We need to teach them to be unpredictable. A man named Jinwoo, a trauma surgeon, brought medical supplies and training. Vesh bodies are different from human bodies, but pain is pain. Injury is injury. I can work with that. Hundreds more came. Teachers, mechanics, cooks, computer experts, all willing to help. Teho went back with the first group. Rael was with him, always with him now. The next 6 months were hard. The humans had to learn Vesh culture. The Vesh had to learn to trust humans. There were fights, misunderstandings, times when it almost fell apart. But slowly, things changed. Yura taught the Vesh about guerrilla tactics, hit and run, misdirection, using the enemy's expectations against them. The Vesh admiral who learned from her started winning battles he should have lost. Jinwoo taught Vesh doctors how to save warriors who would have died before. The survival rate went from 30% to 70%. Human engineers helped make Vesh ships faster, more efficient. One mechanic figured out how to shield Vesh engines better, using human technology, and the humans learned too. Vesh warriors taught them about honor, about fighting with purpose, about never giving up, even when losing. The war turned. Slowly at first, then faster. The Drelok Consortium could not fight against Vesh strength, combined with human cleverness. Their supply lines got disrupted. Their ships got outmaneuvered. Their slave operations got exposed and destroyed. 8 months after Teho freed Rael, the Drelok Consortium surrendered. The war was over. The peace talks happened on a neutral station. Humans helped negotiate. The result was clear. No more slavery. No more raids. The Drelok would pay for their crimes. More importantly, the Vesh and humans signed an alliance. Not just political, cultural, educational. They would share technology, share knowledge, help each other grow. Rael was given a new title by the Vesh Empire. Claw of Two Worlds. She was honored for bringing humans and Vesh together. She was offered a high position in the military. She turned it down. I have different mission now, she told the council. Teho was back on the broken arrow, which was now fixed properly for the first time in years. The Vesh had insisted on paying for repairs. It flew better than it ever had. He was checking the new engine when Rael came aboard. What did you tell them? He asked. I told them I am ambassador now. I go where you go. Learn more about humans. Help build the alliance. She sat down next to him. They were not happy. But they agreed? They agreed. She watched him work for a moment. Where do we go now? Our wound. Teho smiled. I have a salvage contract in the Kepler sector. Nothing exciting. Just some old mining equipment to break down. Sounds boring. Probably. They sat quietly for a while. The ship hummed around them. Teho? Rael said. Yeah? Do all humans have this? This need to help others? Even when it costs them? Teho thought about it. He thought about all the volunteers who came to help. The ones who left their families in safety to fight against slavery. Not all. But enough of us. We see something wrong, and we try to fix it. Even when it is hard. Even when it is dangerous. It is just how we are built. This is good thing. Sometimes it gets us in trouble. Rael made that purring sound. I am glad you have this trouble. If you did not, I still be in cage. Or dead. Yeah, well, I'm glad I found you. You make things more interesting. The radio beeped. A new signal. Another ship in distress. Teho and Rael looked at each other. You want to check it out? Teho asked. Rael extended her claws and smiled. Lead the way, mechanic. The broken arrow turned toward the signal. Two people who should never have met. Now flying together into the unknown. One stubborn human who fixed things. One Vesh warrior who learned that strength came in many forms. Behind them, two civilizations were building a future together. All because one mechanic saw a cage and decided to open it. The galaxy was full of problems. But it was also full of people willing to help solve them. And that made all the difference. The ship jumped to hyperspace, carrying them toward whatever came next. Together, like they always would be. Because some partnerships were stronger than metal. Stronger than honor. Stronger than fear. They were built on something simple. Something human. The belief that everyone deserved help. And the stubborn refusal to walk away from someone in need. That was enough to change everything.